Clive Sinclair, Tony Hadland. Yeah?
You like some more coffee?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Everything is very sweet. You don't actually get it. It's all about it being a simple world. That's just sweet to me. It's still one in the middle of nowhere, no kidding, no time.
The main problem is they're all kind of having to reassemble, check everything, you know, and it's, you know, it's like have you managed to do the Halfords? You heard about this one?
Quite interesting. It's amazing, because they've been on the internet for a couple of months. He's got fine, you see.
I had a picture, but I just poured it all over myself. John Gummer's
So when I get my little car back, can I see whether it's most people, I mean, they don't get yes, I'm just thinking about when you take it. Oh yeah, I just wanted to sure it's good. Yeah, it's on the club, doesn't it? Done? Oh yeah. Yep. Another one. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I can see someone else who's looking, but that's great hope that I can fall on it. Great, yes, yes. I was just saying,
Please go through. It's been a very good house.
thanks. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you're right. My name is Barry Emerson, and I hope by now you also know your names, assuming that we've given our thanks correctly. now tell myself every morning my name, it helps me combat the advancing years. I have it on good authority. Being a country speaker, the system creates massive noradrenaline. I checked mine this morning very low, so I suspect we'll see a good deal up to my head. Chemical dispenser. I don't know what. Plastic component. This you will recognise. This is a motorway emergency lighting lantern. You see them all down the motorways in banks of four. They make the apparatus, they make the lanterns. All in plastic, including the reflector, chrome reflector inside. So you wouldn't know of Brennan's existence. This is reality. Strida to me embodied all the facets we were looking for.
Thank you, Barry. I'll just drop in. It's a very exciting time for a designer, the launch of the bike. It's a bit like a birth, but a sort of sorts of complexity. Massive tubes, spokes, wires, chains, cables, all sorts of things. But I started this design out with a question. Why do bicycles have to be so complex? And also, why couldn't there be a really simple product, which is something halfway or somewhere between walking and cycling? Not another complete form of transport in itself, but something that could actually link other forms of transport. So, for example, making public transport door to door, which is one of the main complaints about public transport. Also making cars more flexible, so they don't have to get stuck in traffic jams. And hopefully also as a fun product in itself. At the time, I actually had a 22-mile commute, and I tried everything: trains, buses, cars, motorbikes, and they all had their problems. And folding bikes were in their infancy then, and they were either too complex or too heavy or too expensive. So with all that in mind, simplicity was the main driving aim behind the Strida design. In fact, in engineering, it's often easier to put more parts in to make something work properly. And I found it's actually harder to take parts away and still keep the function. But if you can actually achieve the simplicity, it's, apart from the elegance, there's lots of other benefits. For example, fewer parts mean a lower cost. It means lower weight, and also fewer parts means it's obvious for a user how the thing works, and in this case, how it folds up. Now, one of my main inspirations for it was this fella, the good old Baron Baby bike. Now, here we have a folding product that everybody recognises. It's used everywhere, on trains, buses, people have them in the car boots. Now, the nice thing about the town buggy is that when it's folded, it doesn't try and be as small as possible in all dimensions. It's long and thin, and it happens to have a set of wheels on the bottom. So you don't actually have to carry it, you wheel it along. So that was a really good inspiration for Strida. Now, it doesn't take much sight to see where the inspiration led me. Here's a folding bike, which, when it's folded, is long and thin, wheels at one end. And the idea is that it's easy to use when it's folded. Because the thing about a folding bike is you spend half your time riding it, and the other half of the time you've got to carry it around and wheel it around. So the idea was, instead of actually carrying it, wheel it, just like the McLaren Baby bike. When you're on the tube, you can stand next to you. Okay, or it's light enough to put in the locker, wherever, fits in car boots. Now, that was the sort of driving concept, but the beauty about having few components is it means that unfolding it, turning it into a bike, is actually very easy. 3 tubes can be realigned into a triangle, and the simplicity means it's fairly obvious how it works. Now, to make it this simple, some of the parts have got two functions. For example, this tube here, which is obviously the front of the triangle, is also the steering tube. It transmits the steering from the handlebars down to the front wheel. And things like the rear hub, it's also the brake and drive belt. Drive belt's very important on a folding bike. Imagine doing this with a chain, and all the oil you'd get on a suit. I felt that if a bike was going to be put in car boots and taken on trains, the last thing you wanted was sort of a handful of oil and grease. Now, belts have been used as replacement for chains, like on car camshaft for years and years, so why not on a bicycle? Now I'd like to talk about the plastics. It's fairly light. Can you imagine this going through an X-ray machine? What you'd actually see would be a metal triangle, nothing else, because apart from the metal triangle, all the other bits are various plastics. And that's been the magic thing about working with roller plastics. We've gone round this frame and made all the components as light as possible that attach to the frame, moulded out of plastics. So apart from being light, they're rust-proof and they're self-coloured. To conclude, I'll fold it up to show you how it folds. And here we are. Just like to say, for a designer, this is a really exciting time launching a new product, because it's great taking what was just an idea into something real and actually making it work. And not only that, the launch is sort of an opportunity to share the idea with other people. Anyone can buy this now, and I hope a lot of people will. Thank you very much.
How then could Roland Plastics begin to put their mark on Strida? If the bike was to become a marketing vehicle for the expertise that Roland has to offer. With this in mind, we set about testing some of the mouldings and castings to see if we could improve on strengths and performances. Components were dispatched to our material suppliers' laboratories for analysis. This proved to be beneficial, and as a direct result, the cast alloy bottom bracket has now produced a material called Vertel, a revolutionary product engineered by DuPont, with properties harder than some alloys. All other components have been produced with super tough polymers with inbuilt properties, reducing the risk of damage through misuse. No detail has been left to chance. All material fixations are to best marine grade stainless steel and will not rust. At no juncture was cost ever a consideration, thus launching the Strida into the 21st century. The Strida market? Limitless. The world is its oyster. We regret that the representative from the Suffolk Constabulary has been unable to attend by virtue of pressure elsewhere. The draw, we decided, should be for those guests with us today. Copies of all visitors' badges have been put into hat for the draw. We would like to suggest that we all make a small donation, the total of which will be added to by Roland and the proceeds sent to the local hospice, St. Elizabeth's. I should now like to welcome the Right Honourable John Gummer, who has kindly agreed to say a few words on the government's initiative on inner city congestion. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Gummer.
Well, it's very nice to be able to say a few words in a entirely non-party-political way, because what we're trying to do in the inner cities was started by the previous government and has been continued by the present one. What we're trying to do is to find ways in which we can make it possible for people to live in a more sustainable way without, at the same time, giving the freedom which transport has brought. I'm one of those people who refuse to be an anti-car person, because the fact is that the motor car has provided enormous opportunities for people which they certainly never had before. Yeah, let's talk about it. People are enthusiastic about it, but the truth is there isn't a very environmentally friendly way of providing public transport to a village of the size, let us say, of Cransford, Darsham. Yes, the occasional, the market bus, the daily bus, but not the kind of bus which provides the sort of ready access to neighbouring places that we're going to use today. So we've got to find a whole range of answers to these problems. And the folding bicycle is one of them. I'm not going to suggest that the whole world's going to get on to Strida bicycle. Nor am I going to suggest that this is the ideal answer for all problems. But it does fit a particular problem. It fits the problem of the person who wants to use public transport, but has at either end an inconvenient distance to walk, which isn't served and couldn't be served very often by public transport. I know you've given up pressing matters in the House today to help us launch this product, which is going to be awesome and exciting. May I also like to thank now a member of our team, Press came into service, who has dealt with every aspect of this launch today. I was particularly impressed with her diplomatic handling of both people and problems, and her less diplomatic handling of me. One could say she was our chief whip and mission control. My special thanks to Isabel Penny. After lunch should, and I imagine it unlikely, any visitor wishes to view our working facility, as opposed to our ordinary facility, please make themselves known to any member of our team who have a black writing on it. May we now finally proceed to the draw and ask Laurette, beautiful member of the design team, to make the draw on behalf of Roland's guests for our Strida. Yeah, shake it up.
Here's your bike, Judy.
Wow, lovely! I can't get on it just at this moment.
Good, I think lunch is served.
It's nice, isn't it?
Well, this might be a significant moment. It's not, I'm interested in the why should a bicycle come back and should have gone away in the first place?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I get to talk to the trade quite a lot, going around the shops, and they all laugh and laugh at the Strida. But then the trade laugh and laugh at everything.
Absolutely.
But it must be great to find codes, materials.
Is this going to do what the mountain did? Is this going to do what the mountain did? You know, time will tell. Change the market completely.
I don't know. There's a few things that make this Strida unique. I mean, it's this weight primarily.
Oh
down to about 3 or 4. Brought in this morning. There's all teeth under there. Yeah, it's all teeth underneath that. It's just plastic under there to protect it. That's only for protection. There you can see the teeth, look. Yeah, that's right. Well, we've got a machine up there which it can go on. Henry? Well, I'll let you have that. Thank you.